So there is a lot of, I would say, justified hand-wringing about the absolute state of Gen Z young adults today, particularly the fact that they are having less sex as young adults than any previous generation recorded in history. And this is actually statistically true. It's proven, though the numbers vary depending on what study you look at. One in 2021 found 30% of Gen Z males and 25% of Gen Z females aged 18 to 25 reported having no sexual partners in the prior year. And another study in the same year from UCLA found that 38% of Gen Z individuals reported no sexual activity in the past year, a notable rise compared to Millennials and Gen X, where less than 10% of those aged 35 to 44 reported similar levels of sexual inactivity between 2016 and 2018. The proportion of young adults with 2 or more sexual partners also dropped from 23% in 2011 to just 10% in 2021.
It's because both the guy and the girl are like, she's got glasses on. I don't know if I'm
Right.
look, I'm not ready to get into the adult industry yet, so I'm going to just hold off.
Well, you know what? No matter what, they're going to blame COVID for it. But so there is now some sort of oxymoronic sex panic going on surrounding Gen Z. And it seems like from the online discourse, Gen Z feels like older adults should stop peering into this historical anomaly that they are exhibiting. They feel that it's invasive toward their sex lives or lack thereof for millennials to be talking about the fact that Gen Z is having less sex. And one of them said, "It's always sex, sex, sex with these people. I'm crying." Like, you go have sex if it's bothering you so much. Another tweet said...
Well, the point of that is to say, like, well, if I do it, I can't...
Right.
I'm old. I can't have kids. We need you to do it so that, you know...
we can, like, continue the human race.
We're already below
no big
replacement
deal.
rates.
Right.
Like,
We're just going extinct. It's not a big deal. One theory as to why Gen Z is having less sex was that everyone is so concerned with aesthetics and being perceived in their bodies and not the experience of having sex itself. And I believe that that is just a nice way of saying most of Gen Z is self-absorbed and insecure and anxious and risk-averse.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is self-perpetuated.
Even the video from the Waves glasses thing. I'm like, when was the last time you saw a party like that for like...
Yeah, literally.
Another response said...
Like, does Gen Z play beer pong? I have no idea.
This is from a Zoomer. Gen Z is having less sex? Yeah, maybe because we're too busy trying to survive late-stage capitalism, unpack generational trauma, and pick the right filter for our breakdown.
Well, that's why he's having problems.
Another one said, "Girl, we're having less sex because these men are Nazis."
That's probably...
So these are the chronically online takes, but
Right.
the
first one was
speculated
good.
reasons about like why this is happening that actually hold any water are probably related to pornography, social media, the fact that Gen Z is just generally detached from having social lives. They're drinking less, partying less. They are reaching life milestones at later ages, including the ability to drive or their first jobs, for instance. So that just is a kind of a package deal. But the solution to this, I promise you, is not encouraging Gen Z to go through a hoe phase, which was one of the purported solutions from a 35-year-old millennial woman on TikTok recently. She says, Gen Z is conservative and cranky because they never had a hoe phase. Hoe phases teach empathy. So let's take a listen to this woman's argument for Gen Z embarking on a hoe phase like she did.
Teach empathy. You need your hoe phase to truly learn the depths of empathy. I believe that one's hoe phase sets you up for a life of being empathetic. Let me explain. When I say hoeing, I mean simply doing things for the plot. And that's what
Words don't mean
that
anything
hoe phase
anymore.
is all about. Is like, is this person the person you're going to be with forever? Maybe not, maybe. But, you know, just have fun, flirt, have a good time. Being a hoe is not about necessarily being promiscuous. It's just
Yes,
about
it is.
What?
not necessarily considering all the consequences.
Bro, they just be changing the meaning of words. Like, this is why why people feel so disconnected from reality. There's no language tether to anything.
With every action because you're young and you have the safety to make dubious decisions.
It's like when Dolly Parton was like, me and my husband are in an open relationship. Remember
Well,
that?
Dolly
she
Parton
was
said
totally
that?
misinterpreted though. Like she she meant that like
I know,
we
that was
flirt
not-
with people,
Oh.
you know, but
I'm
we
sorry.
don't. Yeah.
I'm done. Here we go.
They're
5
swingers.
years now at this point. Because of that time, a lot of the people who are 20 to 25, 28 missed out on that critical whole phase. And I'm talking about not high school, I'm talking about college, and specifically the 5 years after college. That is when you are supposed to be traveling the world with no money in your pocket and just existing off of vibes.
Getting
Because they're missing
STDs.
that, they then didn't learn the lessons that our parents were trying to teach us in our youths. You understand? I learned empathy from my parents during my hoe phase because I realized that all the lessons they were trying to teach me, I understood where they applied in my real life. And I was like, oh, now I understand my parents' point of view a whole lot better because I've been in the world. I've hoed about, I've just done things, and I see now why they said what they said.
I just admit these things.
The kids aren't having that realization moment. They're not learning the lessons that are meant to be learned during the hoe phase, during that 18 to 28-year-old time period, because they're already collecting
That's a whole
the
decade.
attitude of the person who has done it all without having
Oh,
done it.
decade.
And that leaves a big gap for empathy. Because empathy is really the process of understanding another person's actions because you yourself can put yourself in their shoes. But if you've never lived a life, if you've never gone and been a hoe, if you've never traveled, seen things, done things, then there's no way for you to really put yourself in their shoes because you don't even know what shoes they got. You didn't even know they had shoes. You didn't even know it existed. So if I had any advice for young people, like I told my 28-year-old friend last night, I'm 35, and I was like, girl, why are you going home? It's Wednesday in the city in the summertime. You should be out on the town making out with a stranger. Like, that's what it's all about. So that when you are a 35-year-old woman and you're seeing these kids online talking about, oh, millennials, and all I feel is empathy for them because I'm like, oh, you poor sweet child, you're missing on your youth and you're still going to get older. Like you're borrowing the attitude of being older and you're young right now, which means you're still going to get older and you would have already have had the attitude while you're young. So then you never get to be young. Ew. I enjoy being young. It's fun. Being an adult is not like what is the big
Because you
allure
didn't
about
do
being-
anything to earn anything worth enjoying in your youth. That's why you think being an adult sucks, because you wasted your youth.
Yeah.
Duh. Ew. Okay.
What's with these hoe anthropologists? She's like, from 18
Yeah, what
to
is
28, it's the best time
Galaxy
for
brain
hoeing.
take. Okay, and like obviously it goes without saying, you know, if you're in the middle of a hoe phase, you're not thinking about anyone but yourself. So tell me how that's supposed to teach anybody about empathy. You're
Yeah.
commodifying people, you're treating other people like they're disposable for your own hedonistic ends. You're only absorbed with your own hedonistic pleasure and your own temporary gratification. That is the opposite of empathy. It's going to encourage you not to humanize other people. And also, this is important. Making mistakes is not the only way to learn a lesson, actually. You can learn a lot of lessons by watching other people make mistakes and hearing from the life experience of older people who made mistakes and they tell you not to make the same mistakes. You don't have to go through it yourself to make the right decision in the end. That's such a bizarre idea to me. I never understood that.
Are there host studies classes that you can take in college?
She's probably
Yes.
Does she teach host studies at a
probably-
university?
the dean.
She majored in hoe.
I wrote my
and then she went back for her master's.
I wrote my dissertation on hoeing around the world.
I'm looking at
Hot dog.
the comments
Hobel
here.
studies.
This is a good comment from a Zoomer. Millennials want us to suffer like they did in their 20s.
Real.
Like the generations before them did to them, they are ignoring the context that surrounds our early adulthood. And they are saying Gen Z has a stronger risk aversion because if we participate in the behaviors you're encouraging, the consequences will be more severe and life-altering. Some random millennial on TikTok is not going to convince me to risk the precarious situation I'm surviving in just to justify their philosophy. I'll have fun in a different way. Now, the Zoomer who commented this is probably thinking that we're regressing into some kind of fascist authoritarian political system where, you know, I don't know, you're going to get like shot on sight for procuring an abortion. But they're actually directionally correct to think that sex has consequences, and it's good for people to, especially young people, to be aware of that.
No, Mary, you should go out to a bar after work on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
There's another good point made by a
canker
Zoomer.
sores from a guy that you've never met
There
before.
is no hoe phase when you are constantly under surveillance by your own peers. Great point.
So true.
You
We
can
can't even
engage.
hoe phase anymore with these Google glasses or whatever they're called.
You can learn empathy without engaging in hookup culture. LOL. Yeah, it also helps. You know, if you don't hook up with people, you're
Yeah.
actually a more empathetic person, because if you put yourself in their shoes, how would they feel as a person who was disposable to you for a period of a few hours?
Yeah, like the most empathetic people you'll ever meet are these like hyper dedicated like Amish and Mormon people. Like they're always the most empathetic people, and they're not.
Plus, if you're like one of these Gen Z guys who has to meet a girl at the local running club and be
Ooh.
like, oh, you want to get out of here? And she's like, we're suffering through late stage capitalism, so I can't come home with you right now.
By the way, the youngest Gen Zers are, I believe, like some of them still in middle school, many of them still in high school, like actual children. Why are you trying to spread this message to them? Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of groomer vibes.
Yeah.
There's also like a certain level of romanticization that she's doing here, which is like,
Yeah.
guess what? Most people can't afford, even with no money, to just go whore around Europe and have hot dog eating contests with everybody like 7 days a week for a couple months at a time. There is what was the thing we were talking about yesterday? Or not, I wasn't talking about it here. I was reading this post about this woman. What did I read? Who like left her family and was like wanted to go travel. It's like, what is this weird like romanticized wanderlust?
I mean, it's just eat, pray, love,
Yeah.
recycled over and over and over again.
And the women who are like, you know, my husband's perfect and I love my kids, but I just don't feel like I can be myself, so I'm divorcing him. And you're just like, okay.
I mean, fortunately, in Eat, Pray, Love, a movie I hate with a passion, they don't have any children, but she does basically leave her husband for no discernible reason. I think overall we could just do with a lot less like think pieces about Gen Z written by millennials, because they clearly have not figured out their own lives. I would be more open to hearing a message from a Gen Xer or a baby boomer, since they actually have figured some things out, like they ended up having more normal milestones in life. Millennials are just out here floating.
Here, I can give you both those answers. The Gen X person would say, come back when the street lights come on, and the boomer would say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
They're partially to blame for this as well, of course, but
That would be the answer from both of them.
I mean, they raised the millennials, so they're not
The 60s
going to get out
was
of this
just
unscathed.
one large hoe phase.
Yeah. I mean, baby boomers like started the hoe phase of this country.
They're like, "Ugh, of course we had free love. We
Back
weren't
in
living in
my-
late stage capitalism and a fascist dictatorship.
Yeah.
Back in my day, it was a whore phase. I don't know the newfangled words.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.